What is going on in Houston, Texas? The Houston Texans unfortunately took their first loss of the season. Lost to the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead as they were presented with the banner to raise over their stadium. The Houston Texans lose 34-20 in a game that really felt like it was actually 34-7. The offense never got going. Weapons were never truly used. Our run defense was really terrible to about towards the end of the game, and the Houston Texans, like I said, picked off right where they left off in the January playoffs. Man, I mean, to start off, look, the offense, Will Fuller, man. I mean, can Watson throw this any softer to you? Like, it's a back shoulder pass. He barely lobs it out there. Will Fuller drops it. I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's because it's rainy, whatever. Later on, Will Fuller doesn't drop any other balls. So just that particular one. Unfortunately, that's the one that causes us to go 3 and out. And at one point, I'm thinking, okay, this might be like the Texans-Kansas City October game in Week 6 last year, because the first play, we give it to David Johnson, and just when it looks like they had him bobbled up, he goes for 5 yards. And I'm thinking, look, if this dude can average 5 yards a carry, it's going to be a long game for the Chiefs, and we'll be able to score. Well, David Johnson did his thing, but unfortunately, nobody else on the offense. I mean, look, quietly, Will Fuller did get over 100 yards. He had 8 receptions for 112 yards, basically averaging 14 yards per reception. Not bad, but like I said, that was a critical to me drive. And honestly, maybe that even tells me that they could have gone up 14-0. We don't know, because right after going 3 and out, the Chiefs are marching down the field, and they go 3 and out over a reverse call where basically they have Justin Reed lined up in the box, and Robertson just basically beats him off the line. And which basically tells me they need to improve Justin Reed's physical if they're going to put him right there, man-to-man coverage, right there at the line. If you're going to press. And anyway, so Justin Reed recovers, gets a hand in it, and basically as he's going down, it kind of bobbles and hits the turf. So the play of a touchdown is reversed, and basically they had to punt. So then they punt, we get the ball back, and then we start to look a little more methodical. We're running the ball, we're throwing the ball, and you know, at one point, I think that's the one where Cooks had both his receptions. I think it was on that drive, and then David Johnson just a beautiful, run to get us into the end zone. And I'm sure everyone on Twitter is hype as hell about this play. And then the Chiefs again never looked back. And look, you would think that it would have been a more closer game. Deshaun Watson was 20 for 32 with 253 yards, only 1 touchdown, had that one stupid pick. And Mahomes, 24 for 32 for 211 yards. So almost 40 more yards more, but Patrick Mahomes had 3 touchdowns. And look, you cannot give the Chiefs the ball on our side of the field. Like, we start off with a bad punt from Anger. Look, Fairbairn misses a kick before the half. That affected the game. And not only do we miss a kick, but we allow them with 20 or 38 seconds on the clock. Does that sound familiar to Saints game last year? They're driving right down the field and basically are able to kick a field goal of their own. That should not happen. Only in Madden should that happen. That should not be happening to your defense. And look, Anthony Weaver's really going to have to figure this whole sub-packaging out. I'm sure Cornell brought down his grandpa glasses down and said, see, that's why you can't be subbing all the time. Because look, bro, as much as they, I guess, liked the way Omenihu looked in camp, the dude cannot play inside. Do not play Charles Omenihu inside ever again. He does not get penetration. He's not stopping the run. His best attribute is outside. If you have a problem with him playing outside because you have to play Merciless there, Merciless was absent. You can substitute Merciless. Merciless needs to be substituted. He is not making any impact. J.J. Watt did not look any faster to me. He looked a little bit slower. Our linebackers at one point were getting eaten up by Clyde Edwards because we were getting no penetration. So to me, Anthony Weaver really made that adjustment to put PJ Hall in there. At one point, I think Ross Blacklock maybe got 1 or 2 snaps. Lonnie Johnson was put in there late. And not that Lonnie Johnson made any difference, but look, PJ Hall started to make a difference way in the late of the third quarter and the fourth quarter, I think. So to make that adjustment to me is kind of foolish. Like, you've been hearing that all of season, how much the Chiefs were raving about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Anthony Weaver himself on his presser talked about Clyde Edwards. Yet it looked like we had no plan for their running game. And we're talking about a Chiefs who had 3 injuries that night. Yesterday night, he had 3 injuries on defense. And their running back, their starting running back wasn't even there. So imagine if they have both of their running backs in there. Like, our defense would have looked more atrocious than it looked yesterday, especially on that run defense. As far as covering, man, I mean, there wasn't much to cover. Sammy Watkins, 7 receptions for 82 yards. You cannot get scored on a 1-yard screen. That was terrible. Travis Kelce was actually who scored the first touchdown for them, which reminds me about A.J. Moore. Look, as much as you liked A.J. Moore, maybe as much as A.J. Moore shined in practice, yes, we're talking about practice, I don't think this dude is ready to cover no star tight ends. Like, that was a matchup you never wanted to see. And look, for A.J. Moore, like, you have to anticipate that play. To me, I would have rather seen Hargraves on Kelce in that play and seen A.J. Moore on Robertson. Because, I mean, A.J. Moore is still backpedaling while Travis Kelce had already planted his foot, drove inside, and caught the ball, man. And look, Tyreek Hill had a touchdown, but he only had 5 receptions for 46 yards. I mean, I guess Roby tried his best. That one interception, that one flag, that one penalty on Roby, like, bro, Robertson is stopping. Roby is trying to get to the ball. So what else can Roby do there but try to push him aside? Like, Robertson's not going to get that ball. There's 2 defenders in front of Roby where McKinney makes that pick and then they call it bad because of that flag. That to me was a stupid call. But in the same length, Deshaun Watson, you cannot just throw and sling the ball out there when you got Tyrann Mathieu right in your face. Just take the sack, bro. We could have lived another down there. And like I said, David Robinson, 3 receptions, 20 yards for them. So Hardman, only 1 reception, 6 yards. And look, man, early on when we made them punt, the defense didn't look too bad. But as soon as the Chiefs started running the ball, man, we had trouble for days. And basically what we did to the Chiefs week 6 last year, they did to us. They chewed the clock. They ran the ball a ton and didn't have to throw the ball that much and basically controlled time of possession by a whole lot. As in comparison to our offense, Fuller had 8 receptions for 112 yards. Aiken only had 2 receptions for 39 yards. David Johnson, 3 for 32. I mean, we're talking about David Johnson being our second best wide receiver when it comes to reception yards. Like, that's terrible. Randall Cobb, only 2 receptions for 23 yards. Brandon Cooks, only 2 receptions for 20 yards. Darren Fells only used twice for 19 yards. And DeAndre Carter was used. And you know when the offense uses DeAndre Carter, it's because shit is not flowing. It's because the offense is not going. So they need to put DeAndre Carter out there to kind of get some sparks going. So when you see DeAndre Carter out there playing, you already know they are struggling. And they were struggling all night, especially after our touchdown. The Chiefs never looked back. And it sounds familiar to that playoff game. So one of the things that the Texans must improve this upcoming week, that run defense has to improve. You're not facing lesser talent. You got a 3-headed monster in the Ravens. You got Lamar who will scramble. You got old boy Truss that will scramble, and now the dude that they just drafted. So, yeah, man, it doesn't get any easier when it comes to run defense. Your run defense has to improve. It has to get better. Your sub packaging for Anthony Weaver, that has to get better. And as far as the offense, like you talked about trading DeAndre Hopkins so you can spread the ball. I promise you, if DeAndre Hopkins has, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 9, 11. If you give DeAndre Hopkins 11 receptions, he's probably going to put a buck on you. Plus another buck that Will Fuller had. Like, it could have definitely been a lot better game if we had DeAndre Hopkins. Obviously, David Johnson did compensate for the rushing. He had 11 receptions with 77 yards. But, I mean, you had that with Carlos Hyde. See what I mean? So, some of these moves, man, from the bat, it doesn't look well. And, look, DeAndre Hopkins was being petty on his Instagram, talking about we need to leave him alone and different things like that. But, man, I mean, what can you say? You know, like, I would be hurt too. Like, when you know you're not the problem, you're not the reason. And Tyrann Mathieu said it early in his presser this week. He said, look, what DeAndre Hopkins was for them, he would basically get the offense going. He would tell the offense, hey, this is what we need to run because this is what the defense is doing. And now, like, I could truly tell you that I didn't see any leadership out there from the Texans. I didn't see anyone trying to get a spark. And the Deshaun Watson sitting down with Patrick Mahomes, that really pissed me the hell off because you just go 3 and out. And, like, to make that type of gesture, I understand the whole unity vibe and everything. But to me, it was kind of like, bro, come on, man. We're in the middle of a game, you know? Like, when people were mad about him doing the little slime thing when we were down against the Colts game, like, to me, this was worse. Like, no, bro. We're in the middle of a competition. You just went 3 and out. Like, your offense is not looking that great. And look, from the presser, all Deshaun could say is, hey, it's going to take some time to gel. We need to get some chemistry going. And they definitely need to get some chemistry going because that's not going to work, bro. 2 receptions apiece to your wide receivers, that's not going to get it done, man. And we didn't throw deep at all. We threw deep one time to Will Fuller. It went out of bounds. We threw another deep ball, I think, to Brandon Cooks. And it was basically he was bracketed and couldn't make a play on it. And it's like David Johnson really was the only highlight. Dude Johnson has a leg injury. We're going to see what happens with that because if it's significant, who do you have on the practice squad? Scotty Phillips, who they actually activated yesterday. And the other guy that they got, CJ. So, you know, do they make another move for another running back? Like, yeah, man, it's not looking too great early on, but they need to bounce back, and they need to bounce back quickly. And to bounce back against the Ravens, that would be a beautiful thing. Do I think it'll happen? I never had them beating the Ravens week 2. I thought their best chance to not go in 0-2 was to beat the Chiefs last night, and that didn't happen. But hey, anyways, that is my spiel. It is another Friday, another set of videos. You know what it is every day, baby. It is H-Town. Let's get it. Blah!